video is brought to you by Letsynthesize Academy, the #1 place for practice-oriented courses for serious music producers.
Hey, Dan Larson here, welcome to the newest Synthesize Sunday episode, and today I want to show you the best Foghorn bass. Now forget what you heard previously, this is the best. To be fair, this was my reference. And the best thing is that I used Vital, the free synth, to create that. And if you want to grab the preset and the whole project, check my Patreon below. And if you want to dig deeper into production, check my academy. But right now, let's jump into it. Okay, so this is the Foghorn I'm talking about. Now it is very simple to create Foghorn basses because all you need is a sine wave with some slight FM and another sine wave, but this time on a lot higher frequency, then add distortion, some EQ, some compression, stuff like that. But there is a very important ingredient that you need to put before the distortion, because as you may know, distortions react very differently to different frequencies. So for example, if your sound has lots of low end, the output will be a lot different than if it has like a lot fewer low end. So let me show it to you what I did to achieve this sound. But first, let's check the post process. So I added an EQ8. Because this 300 Hz area was too much, so I had to pull it back a little, and I wanted to add a little more mid frequencies, so it's very slight. And after that I added a multiband compression to add some slight compression to the frequencies, so this will even out our sound a little more, but it's not that drastic that, for example, an OTT. Then I added a distortion, a bit warmer preset from the saturator, but I pulled back the drive to 9 decibels. And the EQ8 after that, drop off the very highs and decrease the 4K area a little. Okay, so right now we can jump into Vital and let's see this very simple sound. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't use a sine wave for the main oscillator, it is actually a square wave, but it doesn't matter, you can play with sine wave, but this time the square wave sounded a lot better. So as you can see, it is modulated by oscillator 2, and that is a simple sine wave on octaves 4, so it is 4 octaves higher than the main oscillator. And I added a sine with a synchronization warping mode turned up to really high. So let me show it to you how it sounds without that, but with the sine wave. So this is what really makes the Foghorn sound. As you can see, I haven't used any unison mode, and we only have this frequency modulation coming from oscillator 2 and the synchronization mode. So basically from the generators, this is it really. Now all the generators go into filter 1, which is in analog, so it's a low pass filter. And LE41 drags this stuff. So as you can see, I'm using LE41 on the cutoff, on the FM. And this is all here from LE42, but let's go to the effects. And now let me reveal the trick. So this is the phaser. As you can see, I have distortion, a little EQ, a flanger, but that does not do too much to it. And the reverb. Why I put a phaser before the distortion? And it's simply because, as I told you before, the distortion reacted a lot differently to the input sound if I put a phaser before the whole stuff, or after the whole stuff. It depends where you are looking from it. So it decreases the low frequencies, it cut and boosted some frequencies that the distortion reacted to like in a very nice way and created this cool Foghorn sound. So if I disable the phaser, it's not bad, but it's a whole lot better. So the distortion again is very simple. I also implemented a post filter into the distortion. So with this, it doesn't have that very harsh and very digital sound. So a little cut on the highs and the very lows, and I also decrease this like whatever frequency, because Vital does not tell us the exact frequency, but I guess this is at around 300 Hz again. Then I added a flanger. And the purpose of the flanger is again to decrease that irritating frequency at around 300 Hz. So I didn't want to have a very sweepy kind of sound coming from the sync warping mode sine wave. and the reverb like always. And all together they sound really nice, but let me show you one more thing. First, LFO2 drags the cutoff on the filter of the distortion and also the oscillator level, but I guess this is not that important. But what is more important is the note that I use here on the center. So actually this is very important because, as I told you before, if you have different frequencies, the distortion will react very differently. So if you don't put a note follower or a key tracker on the phaser center, when you go higher on your keyboard, the whole sound will just fall apart, because on higher frequency your low end will be different, your high end will be different, so the whole sound will be different, and this is why the distortion will react very differently, but you want to have the same sound on all the notes. So this is why it is very important to put a note on the phaser center, which is basically the frequency of the phaser, to have the same sound coming out from, and this is only because of the distortion. And there is one more thing. If we go into the MIDI, as you can see, I used some slight pitch bend on the end of the note. So as you can see, creating Foghorn basses is not a big deal. All you need some sine waves, a lower and higher frequency, some distortion, and some treatment before and after the distortion. That's all. If you want to grab these presets, go to my Patreon. You can download this one Foghorn sound or the whole project. I was Larson. See you guys next time. Peace.